I can answer it simply by saying this is the sickness of religion. But let's talk a little bit more. So Jason says, have you ever heard the argument that slave masters, i.e. Caucasians, once used the Bible to justify their conduct? My argument is, if you are that evil, why would you need to justify your behavior? Your thoughts, please. Okay, so human beings, as a group, as a people, have the capacity to be the most inhumane creatures on the planet. Worse than a killer whale. Worse than dolphins. Humans can be the most inhumane group species on the planet. This is the power of religion, though. The power of religion says that there is something above us, something higher than us that we must appease. And as long as we have to appease that, we can figure out different ways of justifying our inhumanity towards one another. The Aztecs and the Mayans did so by saying that in order for us to appease the gods, we have to human sacrifice a bunch of people in order to appease the gods so that we can have great crops. And then they went out and sought foreigners and captured people in order to do that very thing. People groups all over the world have done horrible things in the name of their religion in order to appease a deity that they believe was happening because of nature, or somebody made bullshit up. All right? Or there was a pre-existing civilization that came across and they said that, oh, that must be God because they lived longer and they thought that that was a deity. In your specific example of the transatlantic slave trade, the slavery in the Americas, yes, they used the Bible in order to justify the American slave trade. They used it in multiple ways, though, actually. One of the ways that they used it was to quote Leviticus, where it says that you can go and make slaves of nations around you and have them as slaves in perpetuity. It also says that you can take the foreigners that live amongst you and make them into slaves. Again, it also says that if you can beat your slave, it tells you can beat your slaves. In Leviticus, beat them. As long as they can rise up within 2 days, then the master is not to be punished. But if the slave cannot rise in 2 days, then the master can be punished. So by utilizing those two forms, those two scriptures, it allowed for the Caucasian slave masters to brutalize and rape and treat inhumanely the African and indigenous people slaves that they had here in the Americas. Add on to that their own ideas of racism that said that these people were without souls. That also made it where they could treat them subhuman because they taught that that we didn't have, our ancestors didn't have souls. Now, they also gained from the Bible and looked at where when Ham came into and saw Noah in his nakedness and went and told his brothers, Noah then, not cursing Ham, but cursed his grandson Cain and said that the children of Cain will be enslaved to the other brothers' children, to Shem and Japheth's children, and that they will always be enslaved. So that was another one that they used to say the black people were the progenitor. They were not the progenitors. I don't think that's the right word, but they were the ancestors. They were the children. Yeah, I think it is progenitors from the tribe of Ham, from the line of Ham, and that is why they were supposed to be enslaved based on this Bible, and we can enslave them, and we can then treat them harshly based on Leviticus. So, and then also you have in your New Testament where it says for the slave to be good to their master, whether the master is good or bad, which gives an out for a master to be bad towards the slaves in order and still maintain their Christianity. So yes, religion is so invasive and so dominating in the mind that it allows for people to justify the worst sides of themselves. It is only through raising your consciousness to the point where you know that you can at least, at minimum, live by the golden rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you would not like to be beaten, brutalized, raped, and murdered and not being taken into slavery, then you would not do that to other people. It takes a higher conscious level that is devoid of all religions in order for that to happen. because you cannot have any of these religions and have that mindset. They do not work hand in hand. This is why you still have Christians who are racist as hell on both sides. You still have Christians who commit crimes. You have Christians who are stealing and murdering and doing all these heinous things because religion and treat others as you would like to be treated are not compatible. They're not. Now, someone is going to come on here and they're going to say that I am maintaining Christianity as well as this compatibility of not treating people any differently than I want to be treated. I bet you $10 that if I were to examine your life, I can find where you're not doing that. That there is some aspect of that you're not doing. If you are living in a system where you deal with systemic racism and you're sitting idly by and saying nothing and doing nothing about it, benefiting from that system, then you are not treating others as you would want to be treated, because if you were on the other side of that, you would want those people who have been benefiting off of the stealing of land, the stealing of people, the persecution of people, the oppression of people, you would want them to recognize that they are living based on the backs of what your ancestors did and what they received from the other ancestors, and you would want them to stand for it, to change it. But if you're not doing anything, if you're not demonstrating that, then you're not compatible with your book. You're not living as you would want others. You're not living based on others treating you as how you want to be treated. Because effectively you're saying that if somebody does have black privilege, that you're fine with that. That should be how it is. Because you may be receiving white privilege. Or you might be receiving Asian privilege. Or some other privilege. So you're not doing it at all. They're incompatible with one another. This is one of the reasons why we deconstruct, and I deconstructed from religion, because I recognize that one core thing right there, religion is not compatible with it. So you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is not negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.